So, I know. Someone's gonna say, your truck's not a real pre-runner. Your truck's not a real pre-runner. Like, someone's gonna, like, I know someone somewhere's gonna be talking some smack, saying that my truck's not a real pre-runner, and I don't have a whole bunch of money dumped into my truck and all this crap, and I don't have the proper suspension. I have stock wheels and tires right now. Whatever, dude. Okay, it's still a pre-runner. You still have to start somewhere. Any kind of car build, motorcycle build, truck build, whatever, is not going to happen overnight. I've said this 100 times or more. Builds take time. You gotta have money, build the parts, make the parts, buy the parts, whatever, install the parts, build a cage, do all this shit. And it's not a cheap thing to do, and it's also not a quick thing to do either. Now, you can tell, already know by the title of the video, I'm talking about what it's like to daily drive a pre-runner, basically, right? Because I've seen a couple other videos on this of people actually, making what's it like to daily drive a pre-runner, but not a whole lot of people do it, right? Just be aware that if you're gonna build a pre-runner, it's gonna have a little bit of a rough ride, right? Like, I don't have long travel suspension on my truck, but you can hear the amount of noise this truck makes and how bad it bounces around. Even with your basic off-road suspension of like $3,000, $4,000, like, it cost me about closer to $4,000 for this suspension, and that's just the shocks and upper control arms, you know what I'm saying? So right there, $4,000 deep, right? For what? Not a whole lot, whereas when you start getting into the long travel suspension, you're talking a lot of money. 15 grand or more. I mean, hell, there's a reason why the trophy trucks, their trucks suspension costs well over $50,000. You know what I'm saying? And there's a reason why it costs $50,000, because you can float over 3-foot holes without even feeling it, and just be cruising at 140 miles an hour over lake beds that are not smooth in any way, shape, or form. But it feels smoother than doing 60 miles an hour down the freeway, if that makes sense. So yeah, I get a little bit of wind noise in here. I've always had a little bit of wind noise in this truck, even prior to putting my light bar on my truck and before putting the fiberglass fenders on my truck. So that's something you're gonna have to deal with if you build a pre-runner. There's a little bit of road noise or a little bit of wind noise. Doesn't bother me much because I'm usually blasting the air conditioning even during the winter and blasting the radio all the time, so whatever. And my tires are all terrains. They don't really make a whole lot of noise, but the tires I plan on getting are going to make a little bit of noise. But again, I don't care. I don't mind road noise. If I wanted luxury and quiet cabin and all that stuff, I wouldn't be driving a truck. But I'm not a Prius. I'm a man. I drive a freaking truck. But daily driving a pre-runner is basically the same as anything else. But because my fenders stick out 4 inches further than stock and my front and rear wheels also both stick out 2 inches wider than stock on both sides. I do have to be careful when backing into parking spots because the turning radius has changed a little bit from stock. I mean, we all know we didn't buy a truck for its turning radius and parking abilities. But once you get into these parking lots, especially the tighter and smaller they are, with the smaller freaking parking spots, the bigger your truck gets, the harder it is to pack that bitch in there. And I really don't mind. Like I said, I don't care about the roughness of the off-road suspension on the street. I don't care because again, trucks are not built to be luxurious and be smooth. But I will tell you, like the newer Chevys and GMCs, they do ride really smooth on the street. And yes, someone's gonna be like, "Oh my God, are you complimenting GMC and Chevy being a Ford fanatic?" Yeah, I give credit where credit's due. Okay, Dodge sounds great. Their V8 sound great with, you know, with the stock exhaust and even an aftermarket exhaust. And they do have, I do like the current Challengers. Like the two cars that I would want that are not Ford is a GTO, like the 73 model split bumper GTO, and a, you know, modern, most recent red-eye Hellcat Challenger. And that, I know it's shocking coming from a Ford fanatic who's a pre-runner guy, whatever. But yeah, you know, that's the whole thing about Dodge and Chevy though, right? I'm not against them, but honestly, the reason why they're more affordable is because they're made for the older people, because they have, like, their interior's a lot more simplistic. There's not as much going on as with the Fords. So that's why, like, the Fords are for like the younger guys that need it for work, and then the Chevys and Dodges are more for the older guys that need to have a truck because they're towing an RV, or, you know, they still do some yard, like, housework, need some lumber and shit like that, but they want the more of a luxurious ride. So that's why they go with the Chevys and the Dodge, right? I'm not saying that you can't buy a Ford that doesn't drive nice, because they do, but most of us that drive Fords, we don't give a shit if it rides rough or not. Like, it's normal to us. But mine's really bad just because of the off-road suspension. Now, my thing is like I said, I know my truck's not considered a pre-runner truck to some, and to others it is a pre-runner, and then hell, maybe even some it's like they wouldn't call it a specific kind of build. They would just call it a truck build is what they would call it, right? What kind of truck build, I don't know, but they would call it some kind of truck build. But it doesn't matter. It does have road noise. Again, I don't care about the road noise. I don't mind the bounciness of it and the jolting around of it and all. It's all in the name of the game of driving a truck and driving a pre-runner, or a build, as you would say. You know, it gets the job done. It gets me to and from point A to point B, from work to home, home to work, whatever the hell. I can throw my dirt bike in the back of it. I can throw my bags of recycling in the back of it to go take to the recycling place. God dang, they're building that up quick. I didn't realize that they were building that shit up. That I got that shit done getting done pretty quick. They only started that like a month and a half ago, if that. But yeah, I'm heading into downtown right now just because I do have a lot of people that stare at my truck. You know, I've had a couple people, you know, give me the thumbs up. The biggest problem that I see with it is these other people that have these fast cars or faster cars. They all see the fact that my truck's modified, and they all want to try to race me, thinking that like I'm trying to race. I'm like, dude, I'm in a 5,000 pound 305 horsepower truck, okay? You're in a 3,000 pound freaking 400 plus horsepower car. The fuck, like, who do you think's gonna win, a muscle car or a sports car versus a big ass truck? Like, people are stupid. Like, take your ass down to Texas and race the trucks down there. See who's gonna lose then at that point. Because I guarantee it's not gonna be the truck. Because people realize when you're in Texas, you don't race the trucks, because they got more money dumped into their trucks than you probably do in your entire house. Yeah, shout out to Texas, because I know how y'all roll down there. Y'all don't fuck around, but you're gonna let people fuck around and find out. I'm gonna tell you that right there. I mean, look what's going on with the border crisis right now. Ha, triggered. But so if you're if you're thinking about building a pre-runner or any kind of truck build, go for it, dude. Like, and don't let the fact that you're gonna have a little bit of a rougher ride or you're gonna have a little bit of road noise, don't let that shit bother you, man. Like, seriously, it's a car. You're not spending the majority of your day in the truck. You're only using your vehicle to, you know, get from point A to point B, or whatever. I mean, or if you're gonna go out and use it, right, then you'll be spending the day in the truck or the build. But 90% of the time, you're not gonna be spending 90% of your time in your vehicle. So I think you can handle driving with a little bit of road noise and a little bit of bumpiness and whatever for an hour or less when you're on the way to and from work or wherever you're going. So just don't worry about it. Build that truck. Don't let people judge your build or tell you that it's not what that kind of build because you haven't dumped $100,000 into it and shit, whatever. You don't need $100,000 to get started. You really don't. Build your shit, have fun with it, don't let people judge you. Love y'all, be safe, catch you guys on the flip side.